If you just built a raised bed and you're standing in the garden center staring at a wall of soil bags, doing the math in your head, stop, put the cart down. Filling a raised bed with bagged soil is one of the most expensive mistakes new gardeners make, and you do not have to do it. I filled my very first raised bed entirely with bagged garden soil and mushroom compost, and it cost me almost $200 for one bed. Then it sank 4 inches by the next spring, and I had to buy even more. Here's the good news. There's a better way. It's actually healthier for your plants, and most of what goes in your bed can be completely free. Today, I'll show you exactly how to fill a raised bed from the bottom up without wrecking your budget. The layers, the ratios, where to get the good stuff for free, and the money-wasting mistakes to skip. Stick around to the end because the layer most people get completely backwards is the one that decides whether your vegetables actually thrive. This works whether you've got one little 4x4 bed or a whole row of them, and it works especially well down here in the hot, humid South, where soil breaks down fast and holding moisture is everything. No chemicals, no fancy equipment, no soil science degree. Just a simple, layered approach gardeners have used for generations. Let's get into it. Here's the one idea that changes everything. A raised bed is not a giant flower pot. You do not need to fill the whole thing with expensive potting mix. Think of your bed like a pyramid of value. The bottom two-thirds can be cheap, bulky, organic material that slowly breaks down and feeds your soil for years. Only the top 6 to 8 inches, the root zone, needs to be really good stuff. That's where almost all your vegetable roots actually live. So we build from the bottom up. If your bed is tall, say 12 inches or more, start with what gardeners call the bones, logs, branches, and twigs laid right on the ground. This centuries-old method is called hugelkultur, and it works like magic. As that wood slowly rots, it acts like a sponge, soaking up water in the wet season and releasing it during a dry Louisiana August. It also creates air pockets, so your soil never turns into a compacted brick. On top of the wood, lay a layer of plain cardboard or a few sheets of newspaper. That smothers grass and weeds trying to grow up from below, and it breaks down into worm food within a season. Use plain brown cardboard. Peel off the tape and any glossy labels. Right there, you filled a third of your bed and you haven't spent a dime. Next, we build the middle. The middle layer is where you pile in all the free organic matter you can get your hands on. This is the heart of the bed. Honestly, it's just a big compost pile in progress. Start throwing in fallen leaves, grass clippings, straw, pulled weeds that haven't gone to seed, spent plants, and kitchen scraps like veggie peels and coffee grounds. The trick is to balance what gardeners call greens and browns. Greens are the wet, fresh stuff, grass clippings, veggie scraps, fresh manure. Browns are the dry stuff, dead leaves, straw, cardboard, small wood chips. You want roughly 2 or 3 handfuls of browns for every handful of greens. That balance keeps everything breaking down sweet and earthy instead of turning into a slimy, smelly mess. And that matters even more here in the South because our heat and humidity make everything decompose fast. That's actually a gift. A bed that would take 2 years to cook up north will break down in a single season down here. Just don't pack thick mats of wet grass clippings all in one layer, or they'll go slimy and starve the pile of air. Sprinkle them in thin and mix in those browns. If you've got a bag of aged compost or composted manure, add a few inches here too. By the time you finish this layer, your bed should be filled to about the top 6 or 8 inches. Now for the layer that actually grows your food. This top layer is the only part you might actually pay for, and it's worth doing right, because this is where your seeds sprout and your roots feed. You want a rich, crumbly, well-draining mix, and the recipe is simple. About half good compost and half quality topsoil, or a bagged raised bed garden soil. Some folks add a couple handfuls of an organic amendment like worm castings or an all-purpose organic fertilizer, but you don't have to. If you can only buy one thing for the whole bed, make it compost. Compost feeds your plants, holds moisture, and wakes up all the beneficial life in the soil. Because we grow organic here, skip the synthetic, salt-based fertilizers and the cheap fill dirt from the hardware store. Fill dirt is usually dead, heavy clay that compacts and drains poorly, the opposite of what you want. A good rule: your top layer should feel like chocolate cake crumbs, dark and loose, not like modeling clay. Fill this layer right up to about an inch below the rim because it's going to settle. Rake it smooth. Then give the whole bed a deep, slow soak. Watering wakes everything up and helps all your layers settle together into one living system. Coming up, I'll show you where to get compost, mulch, and manure for free. Most people have no idea these sources exist. Let's talk about getting all of this for free, or close to it, because this is where you really save. Number 1, your own city or parish. A huge number of towns run a compost and mulch program and give it away free to residents. They grind up everyone's yard waste, let it cook, and pile it up for you to shovel. Just call your local public works or search your town's name plus free compost or free mulch. Number 2, fallen leaves. In autumn, people bag up the best free soil amendment on earth and set it on the curb. Drive around and grab those bags. A pile of shredded leaves breaks down into gorgeous, rich leaf mold. Number 3, coffee grounds. Most coffee shops will hand you a bucket of used grounds for free if you just ask. They're a fantastic green. Number 4, horse and cow manure. Small farms and stables often have more than they know what to do with and will let you load up for free. Just make sure it's well-aged, never fresh. Number 5, arborists and tree companies. Ask for a load of wood chips or sign up for a free chip drop service, and they'll dump a whole truckload in your driveway. And if you do need to buy, bagged topsoil and composted manure are usually just a couple of dollars a bag, way cheaper than premium potting mix. A little hustle here saves you a fortune. Now let me save you from the mistakes that cost people money and kill their plants. First, never use fresh manure. Fresh manure is so strong it'll actually burn your plant roots, and it can carry weed seeds and pathogens. Always age it at least 6 months or tuck it deep in the bottom layer where it has time to mellow. Second, don't mix fresh wood chips into your soil. As wood chips break down, they temporarily pull nitrogen out of the soil, the exact nutrient your leafy greens need. Keep the wood down in the bottom bones layer, or use chips only on top as mulch. Never blend it into your root zone. Third, don't fill the whole bed with cheap fill dirt or bagged garden soil alone. Fill dirt compacts into concrete, and pure bagged mix is pricey and dries out fast in our heat. Layering beats both. Fourth, don't forget your bed will settle. Those fluffy layers can sink 4 to 6 inches in the first few months, so mound it up higher than you think and plan to top it off. And fifth, if you've got gophers or voles, staple a layer of hardware cloth across the bottom before you fill. It's a 5-minute job now that saves a heartbreak later. Avoid those 5, and your bed will outperform one you spent hundreds on. So let's bring it all together. Fill from the bottom up. Woody bones and cardboard on the bottom. a thick middle layer of free leaves, grass, and compost, and a rich 6 to 8 inch top layer for your roots. Water it in deep, and don't panic when it settles. Just top it off with more compost each season. And that's the beautiful part. A layered bed like this actually gets better every single year, as all that organic matter breaks down into black gold. Down here in the south, plan to add a couple inches of compost every spring and fall, because our heat eats through organic matter so fast. Once it's filled and settled, you're ready to plant. If you're filling this in late summer, you're perfectly timed for a fall garden. Think lettuce, kale, collards, carrots, broccoli, and garlic. A brand new bed full of living, layered soil is the best possible start those little seedlings could ask for. So skip the $200 soil bill, feed your soil instead of just filling it, and let nature do the expensive work for you. If this helped you look at that pile of soil bags a little differently, do me one favor and hit that subscribe button. I share simple, no chemical gardening tips like this every week, and I'd love to have you growing right alongside me. Now get out there and build that bed. I'll see you in the next one.